is that Nautilus, and they're probably happy to trade either the Hecarim for the Lilia or Lilia for Hecarim because they're both really strong junglers right now. It's just which one are they going to get now? Which one are 4J1V going to pick?
Yeah, I mean, locking in that set first is a little bit of a weird one. I mean, I'm pretty sure we saw it last week when Hestes managed to pick up the support for the, well, set for the support pick even. So maybe potentially we'll see the dual lane be locked in, these priority picks on the side of red side, as we saw that Nautilus got picked through onto the blue side. So maybe we'll see that Yasuo surface once again for random, like we saw in game 1, I believe it was. So we played very well on the Yasuo, so we could see that come through. Renekton gets picked up again, so if it works 2 times for you, first time it was still very effective against the Jax, but that was just the final blow that they needed in that one for Exa to pick up the Renekton for a 3rd time to be like, you know what, let's try this again. The Crocodile is a slippery one. They have no Steve Irwin, so let's get the Crocodile back on the pitch.
What's going to be the mid lane pickup here for random? It looks like it is going to be that Jayce in the end, kind of pivoting away from the Akali, which is a bit surprising because I feel like he played pretty well on the Akali in game number 2, but this time wants to pick up the Jayce, wants to pick up a more aggressive pick, and Final Wax is going back on the Jax as well. So it seems like overall the AD carries are not being as prioritized for both of these two teams. You know, it's going down to the second pick phase for both of them, which means they just keep on getting banned over and over again. It's just kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we started to see a little bit of a combine of the team comps over the past like 3 games. Sorry, this is now the 4th. With like the likes of the Nautilus, we've got Jayce coming through as well. Jax once again to be paired up against the Renekton, but the Akali coming through, they're going to need some sort of like lockdown for that Akali as well on the side of BWS. But we are now getting to that second ban phase, so the likes of the ADCs are probably going to take a bit of a beating for the pool here. Like the Kaisers come through, it wouldn't be a shock to me if we see that Zeri and Xayah ban come through again for either of these sides. But still on the side of for J1V, we need to look at going for either we're basically assuming that the set's going to be support. Renekton's going to be up into the Baron lane again, Akali in the mid, so we're looking for that jungler, and we're looking for the ADC pick, just exactly the same as BWS, unless they flex the Jayce into the jungle.
We'll have to see here. Lilia going past the whole second pick, first pick phase, same as the Hecarim as well. Both of these picks going straight the way through. Volibear and a Vi being banned away, 2 very unusual bans over towards the jungles, but maybe they know something that we don't. Maybe it's Baluz's more comfort picks than anything else. With the Lilia being banned, I wouldn't be surprised if Hecarim gets picked here, or they could prioritize the ADC, which is kind of interesting because there are quite a few ADCs left up and available, but there's not really that many junglers left. And that's exactly what I thought. You know, you pick the Zeri, and then Xayah is also available. Can do really well against Renekton Akali to keep herself alive. Could be a great pick here. And then you can pair it now with the Nautilus and then pick a jungler like Hecarim. The only problem is you are going to be very AD heavy with this composition, which might be a little bit of a struggle if you pick Hecarim. So it really depends what you want to do here. I mean, you know, it could go crazy, and you could go like Nautilus jungle here and pick another support. You could just go AP Nautilus jungle to get that bit of AP damage. That's exactly what they're going to do. It looks like, hey, we predicted it. It looks like that's what they're going to do. AP damage in the jungle, 4 AP Nautilus, and Brom is going to be the pickup in the support role here for Baguette.
Hey, 7 games in, we're starting to know what we're talking about, Stu. The Brawl gets picked up. But yeah, I mean, still, they struggle for some sort of like lockdown onto the Akali. I mean, they've got the counter strike from Jax, but that's a big window for things to go wrong on the side of BWS. I mean, they have the knock up of Braum as well. But again, it's going to be really interesting to see where this Nautilus sits. Is it going to go in the mid? No, because obviously random's mid lane. Never mind. They don't get themselves into order. That's just me going a little bit cray-cray. But onto the side of 4J1V, we're getting the Morgana in the jungle, which we don't really see at all. So seeing that come through, again, obviously long-range stun, AoE damage, and then obviously lockdown with her ultimate, and then obviously Black Shield to stop any of those CCs coming through. So could negate Nautilus's ult, could stop Braum's knockup as well for at least either herself or her teammates. So again, there's a lot of potential within that Morgana pick just to even be just like a utility pick up for JV. So again, plenty of different picks coming through, but this is the time where these pocket picks do come through because they were literally backs against the wall at 2-0 and could have potentially been facing a 3-0 defeat. So now they have to bring out these big picks in order to save them in this best of 5.
Yeah, I think the Morgana pick is kind of smart, as you mentioned. I think the big reason is that Black Shield, being able to stop that point and click ultimate from the Nautilus. It's such an easy ultimate to hit. You can just point and click. You can just be able to hit the ultimate super easily. As you mentioned, with the Morgana Black Shield, you can stop whoever the Nautilus tries to ultimate. Also, it's pretty good engage at the same time as well. As you mentioned, the long range stun, the ultimate as well, that can do really well. I think overall it's pretty even across the board. I think the top lane matchup is going to go very similar to before. Renekton's going to get a bit of a lead, but then Patterson is going to be out to scale. Mid lane is pretty even. I think they both have pretty decent early game damage and also mid and late game damage as well. Bot lane kind of the same as well with the Xayah and Zeri. The only thing is that Heste does have that bit more playmaking potential on this set compared to the Braum. Then Braum also has a way of protecting the AD carry this time around with Mumu. So Mumu's going to have a lot of protection on this Xayah pick with also the Braum and even the Xayah ultimate herself. So I think overall it's pretty interesting to see where this series is going to go. If Baguette is going to close it out or if 4J1V are going to take it to a game number 5.
Yeah, it all depends on if they do want to finish it with this team comp BWS, because the longer this best of 5 goes on, the longer that they're probably going to have exposed picks that they're probably hoping to save for the final so they can try and close out their final matchup. Because like we were saying earlier, the matchup between if it was BWS and BBB in the final, it's going to take some doing for them to come through and try and take an easy win off of BBB, considering how well they played against Almighty Capybara Elites. But that's saying that obviously they're the same sort of tier as the French players, even though they are some of the really good players on the side of Almighty Capybara Elites, but they did definitely falter to the side of BBB. But again, yeah, I like the team comps. I like the fact that they're going with something different. We're not just seeing a switcheroo of Hecarim and Lilia in every game, which is always very exciting. I do like X's Renekton pick regardless. I think he always plays very fantastic on it. But I'm really interested to see how this Nautilus pick comes through. Obviously, if they are going to have any AP on their team, it's going to come through from that Nautilus. So if they do want to build any defense on the side of 4JV, they're going to only have to build a very little AP resistance, because it's only Nautilus that comes out with that AP damage for the side of BWS. But so it gives them that thought in the back of the mind that they only really need to build defense for the physical damage from the Xayah, from the Jace, from the Jax. But if the Jace in this match is anything like Kisses, then we could see some really aggressive plays come through from random.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, because they were kind of forced into the hand of, I would assume they would most likely like the Nautilus in the support role. I think Nautilus is a lot better as a tank than this full AP jungle. They were kind of forced into this hand because, as I mentioned, with the Lilia being banned, it's pretty difficult to come up with another AP jungle. And they already picked the Jace in the mid, the Jax in the Baron lane. But we'll have to see how things go in this game number 4 between Baguette and 4J1V. It's probably going to be another super back and forth early game, as we've already been seeing throughout the whole of this early game. But it really comes down to these macro plays. It really comes down to the micro plays around the objectives. What team can come out on top this time around? And a very long best of 5 between these two teams so far. They're going to need to do a little bit more. They're going to have to find a little bit of energy from somewhere, which is exactly what me and Blam are doing right now, trying to find energy from somewhere.
Hey, that Red Bull is soaking into my veins. Don't worry about me. I've got my energy there. It's just I'm keeping it on the back burner just in case we have to go for the whole 5 games in this best of 5. But currently, again, we're just seeing that same old early game sort of bish bash bosh between these champions in the Baron lane, and then same for the mid lane as well. Quite a bit of an aggressive push already from Random there, pushing, trying to get some clear priority with these minions in the mid lane as well. So whilst the duo lane is definitely taking a bit of a beating, Xayah is on half health. Same with the Braum, whereas Set's pretty much walking away unscathed. He's like, yeah, I've got the grits. It's all good. Don't worry about me.
The Observer saving the day as well, switching around the Nautilus and the Jace. Appreciate that one. Making sure that everyone's in the right order. So lucky that they actually brought that into the game. You know, there was times where people didn't swap and you couldn't swap them in spectator as well, so it was very difficult to kind of make sure that they're all there. But being able to swap it now in spectator is super nice, so appreciate that, Observer. We'll have to see how the rest of this game goes, but to start things off, Nautilus just full clearing the entire jungle. You can see now it's gone back to base. It's level 5 and has also picked up the Boots of Mana. Now he's looking to try and go towards the Morgana, actually. And Morgana is only level 4. The ultimate can come out here. Why has the ultimate not been used? It's been used now. The Ignite comes down, but loses super low, and is going to go down for first blood. They're going to try and take a trade kill back, which they are. And the 2 mid laners were able to roam as well. Bit of a delayed ultimate there for the Nautilus, but did take the Scuttle Crab in the end. And as mentioned, you know, the Morgana was only level 4, so didn't have her ultimate up and available at the time of that fight. So there was a huge advantage for that Nautilus, and he gets a bit of a gold lead as well.
Yeah, I mean, currently it's looking like it will be the AP Nautilus build because of that first strike Keystone Rune as well, and the fact that he's going for Magic Boots and obviously already building the Totem as well. So I think we probably will end up seeing that Nautilus coming through with the AP on his first ability, and obviously shield as well, going with the AP ratio with his attacks. So again, I feel like it is going to be that stack of AP coming through for Nautilus for BWS, and I think it's a pretty good call. They have the Braum as a tank. They can really use that as a front line if they really need to. In order for them to try and lock down a position how they're going to approach these team fights going forward. But a nice even trade there, 1-1. Like you said, wasn't quite sure why that Nautilus ult didn't come through. But then again, if we was going to use the Nautilus ult onto the likes of the Morgana, she could have just black shielded it and probably would have been a waste anyway.
Exactly that. The Hex Flash is going to come through here onto the mid lane. The hook as well. The Black Shield's not going to do anything this time around. Again, though, a trade kill bag for 4J1V. And they're going to be okay with these trade kills in the end. You know, you don't want Baguette to get too far ahead in this game. You know, it's Nautilus is trying to make a whole bunch of plays. Once this Morgana gets a few items, and once she can stand close enough in these fights to use this Black Shield, she will come in handy. But Random, the insane play in the mid lane, the expert himself, Random, taking that kill onto Balooz, which just puts the jungler further and further behind. And the same with the mid lane as well. Look at that goal lead already happening in the mid lane here as Akali looks to be going super aggressive here. I'm not too sure if this is what you want to do here, Akali. Does have the second ultimate as well, but what are you doing, buddy? Peste coming in though, gonna get a trade kill back, but now the ultimate's gonna come through here from the Nautilus. Is the Nautilus gonna have enough damage with this full AP build? It looks like it is in the end. Actually, the Braum gonna be taking the kill. A 2-for-1 trade, if I'm not mistaken, or a 3-for-1 trade if you count Balooz also dying as well. So really positive trade there for Baguette in that mid lane.
Yeah, it depends how charitable you want to be there, Stu, but I feel like it was a 2-for-1 trade for the side of BWS, as they do take up the Rift Herald this time around, as normally they prioritize the Dragon. They've gone for the Rift Herald because they kind of want to get that early lane priority that they've been missing out in the past few games, where they've decided to go for the Dragon first, and they're not quite getting the Dragon Soul all the way through. They've managed to get it in 1 or 2 series, but not every series. But that having that Rift Herald in that early game to demolish either the prime targets like the Baron lane turret or the mid lane turrets, it's probably going to be really helpful for them here to just sort of gain the rest of those plating on the turrets to get a little bit more gold in their pocket, because even though they're ahead by 3k gold, having those turret platings is definitely going to push them a little bit further and get some more items built for these champions. But already Random proving time and time again why he's one of the best players within the EU region and France itself. Is he's currently on 2-1-2, going for that lethality build, the same as what Kiss Kiss was going for on the Jace.
First turret destroyed.
Yeah, first tower is going to go down here. You can see the Nautilus also going into the top lane as well. This lockdown crowd control that Nautilus brings makes it so difficult for enemies to be able to escape. There's no way of escaping the Nautilus ultimate. The only way that you can actually deny the Nautilus ultimate is by buying stasis, but that costing 1,000 gold in this early game, you definitely don't want to buy it this early on, because it's going to mean that you're going to be so far behind on items. As Patterson's looking to dash back in there, but I'm not too sure if he's going to get a kill back, to be honest with you. Morgalen's going to get the snipe in the end. The mini Skarner's got to try and take that top lane tower. It's not going to take it in the end, unfortunately, as it looks to be a dive in the mid lane as well. Exhaust comes through onto the Akali, because Akali's looking to dive back in again. Like, Isma's playing super aggressive in this game, and it just hasn't worked out for him so far.
Absolutely. I mean, he's been caught out 0-3, so he definitely needs to rethink what he's doing with the Akali approach. But he does pick up the plated steel caps, because obviously there's a lot of AD on the side of BWS, so I think that's probably the right call rather than going for more damage, even though if he was being aggressive, maybe that's probably the way to go, is just build damage, and then just hope that you can kind of clean out these kills before you get caught out by the attack damage here. But again, Random is almost 2.3k ahead in the mid lane alone, and we're already seeing gold leads in the jungle, in the Baron lane, and even in the support role as well. So pretty much across the board, every lane we're seeing that gold difference. But the showstopper coming through on the side of 4JV from Estes, and that turret was literally hanging on by its dear life with that 7 HP, and UI just did the finishing blow and did some courtesy by putting it out of its misery by hanging on there by its that 7 HP. So well played to BWS for picking up another first tier turret, whilst BWS have not lost a single turret yet. There is no goal in sight for a turret to be taken down so far for 4JV.
Definitely looking like a more comfortable game so far for the side of Baguette. You know, every single lane is winning, especially the mid lane as well. Over a 2,000 goal lead in the mid lane, and you can even say that in the jungle as well. Not quite a 2,000 gold lead, but pretty much already there. And you can see this Nautilus pick is just everywhere around the map. The lockdown of the crowd control is just so much, and luckily for Akali, she has a way to escape with that little bit of a miss to escape. The Brom trying to get an engage going in the mid lane. Azim has to flash away as well. The extra auto attack damage though from the Jax comes in, and now they can secure the tier 2 tower in this top lane. This looks a lot more cleaner, a lot more precise for Baguette, and this Nautilus pick has come in handy so far.
Yeah, so really throwing him off, thinking that's going to be the support pick, is probably a really good ruse for the side of BWS, because we saw towards the end that there was banning out the likes of the Lilia, thinking, well, they haven't got the jungle pick. And then, lo and behold, the Nautilus pick was the jungle pick, and I think that's probably the good ruse for them to go for, because no one's suspecting it. because Nautilus generally doesn't really come out in that jungle anymore. He used to be a priority pick in one of the Rift Legends series, at least last year. Everyone was gunning for this Nautilus AP pick in the jungle because it's just so brutal. There's so much damage and has great utility. But then you think being countered by the Morgana, thanks to the Black Shield, that we would start to see a little bit less utility from this Nautilus in this match. But currently it's still showing and proven that it's worthy of being picked up still, because again, 1, 2, 3 of the KDA, but still very far ahead of the gold. But again, Hesty's coming from the backline to bring the Braum into the front of the queue there, as we have Baloo's rotate around. It is a 4v2 in the Clash lane. Random is trying to get out of there, but as they are doing this in the BWS's Clash Baron lane, we are seeing a brutal attack on the Dragon lane inhibitor, and it gets taken down 11 minutes in by BWS. Another turret taken down by potentially the winning team here.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty good try there from 4J1V in that top side, but it actually turned out as a 2-for-2 trade in the end on that top side. So 4J1V try and take the trade in the top lane. They only trade 2-for-2. They don't even get an advantage in the top lane, and meanwhile they lose the mid lane and the bot lane inhibitor instead. So it's such a difficult scenario here for 4J1V. Look at Jax just sitting in the bush, waiting in the bush at the moment to see what's going to happen. Jumps on the Renekton here. He thinks that they're alone, but nope, he's not alone. The Braum is also here to play. Really nice double dash, but the flash over from Patterson in the end, securing that kill. Again, it's kind of the same story in this Baron lane. It's the Jax versus Renekton story. Renekton can get a bit of an early lead, can try and get a bit of an advantage, but then again, you're just able to run away with this one from the side of Jax. You know, Jax can just do so much work, and the Baron is secured 12 minutes into this game.
Yeah, I think it's looking like a pretty safe round 4 for BWS right now, with 11 kills up to 7. They're 10k gold ahead, 7 turrets in the bag compared to the 1 on the side of 4JV. It's looking like this team comp was just waiting to happen. A bit of a brewing, pretty much a finisher of a team comp that it was probably hoping for to hold out to in the finals. But here it is, those Baron Nashor minions coming around as well, procced with the Demolish, taking down the inhibitor in no time. And there's a minion wave in the mid lane, in the Dragon lane as well. It's pretty much a full frontal assault onto the Nexus here. There is no shielding on the Nexus as well, so it's pretty much all for the taking. It depends on what 4JB can do here, but it's not a lot, because Renekton goes down, Akali goes down as well, and it's looking like the Hestes is about to go down, Zeri go down. It is literally a team ace as they take the Nexus in the final game between BWS and 4JV, securing the final spot in the finals for BWS.
We're going to get BWS versus BBB in that grand final tomorrow. Super exciting game that we'll be able to witness tomorrow. And then it will be Almighty Capybara against 4J1V. But 4J1V did a valiant effort in game number 3. I think they did really well to come back in game number 3. But Baguette came into this game and we're just like, okay, that's enough time for playing. We're tired. It's late. Let's just end this series right here, right now, so we can prepare for tomorrow's final. And what a performance as well by Patterson on this Jax in the end as well. You know, kind of proving that this Jax versus Renekton matchup can go in